Hello, friends. It is officially Masters Week. The week that we've all been waiting for. That was my best Jim Nance impression. What do you think of that, Cody? Hello, friends.
I think he nailed it. I think you should take over in a couple years whenever he steps down.
Done. Yeah. It is Masters Week. Like I said, myself, Cody Williams, is going to break down our best bets for this week. We're going, as always, on a weekly basis. Miscut, top 20, top 10, top 5, and our pick to put on the green jacket. Really quick, though, I do want to talk about last week's event, the Valero Texas Open. Wasn't a bad week for me. Just to quickly recap my picks, I had Spieth to miss the cut. Barely missed out on that bet. He made the cut right on the line. Top 20, Matthias Schwab at 4-1 I hit. Top 10, Charlie Hoffman did not hit. I think we had that debate last week. What's going to happen, either course history or just the way that Charlie Hoffman has been playing this season. And Charlie Hoffman sucked. That was tough to watch. So he wasn't even close. He missed a cut. Adam Hadwin with a big backdoor cover or backdoor top 5. And I think that was plus 625. I think it was something around that range. And Corey Connors did not come through for the win for me, of course. A little bit of a disappointing week from Corey Connors. I know you hit your missed cut, Cody. Did you hit anything else from last week's show?
No, everything else was kind of a real bust for me. Chris Kirk kind of just let me down on the weekend. He played really good Saturday, and then Sunday as my top 10 pick. On Sunday, he just shot an even par round, was kind of up and down. Neesmith didn't hit the ball well like he had been coming into the event. Hideki was my pick to win, and he withdrew. And then
Right.
Rory was my top 5 pick, and Rory didn't look in for him at all. I did hit my miscut with Bryson DeChambeau, though. Continuing to fade him is profitable.
Yeah, that was a fantastic bet. I meant to tail it, and then I forgot to last second, and I didn't think of it until the tournament already teed off. So great bet. He once again did not look good. Very rusty. We'll see how he kind of performs this week at the Masters, because he historically has not done well at the Masters at all. What I think his best place is like T21 or something like that of the Masters.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he's not finished in the top 20 yet in his career. So
yeah. So bad form, going to an event that he's never done well at, and he cursed himself there. Was it last year? He said he's going to play like a par 68.
I think he said par 67, actually.
As you can tell, I'm so excited for the Masters this week. I'm literally just wearing my golf outfit right now. I don't know if you notice this. I'm literally just wearing my nice little golf shirt, my blue golf hat. It matches with the Scottish flag in the background. I will not be betting on any Scots this week, though. Cody, you are a UNC guy. Are you excited for your Tar Heels tonight?
I'm both excited and nervous, but I think we're going to see a good game. So ready for it.
I mean, at this point, as the 8 seed, you have to just kind of be happy to be here in the finals, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can make the argument that ending Coach K's career in the Final Four was a victory and a national championship in and of itself. So.
Yeah. Quick announcement: I believe we are launching a pool for the Masters this week. It'll be free to enter. I haven't gotten the official word yet, so I don't know if I was even allowed to say that, but I think we're going to be launching that. Keep an eye out for that. If it doesn't get launched, please don't kill me. But yes, for everyone watching, keep an eye on that. It'll be free to enter. There'll be a prize. There's no golf tournament outside of maybe the match play, which is fun for a pool, but everyone loves a good Masters pool, whether it's with your family, your friends, your office, but in this case with us. So keep an eye out for that. I put really quick before we get in the Masters here, Cody. You live in a hot state. Did you get to golf all year round?
So you can golf a little bit in New Mexico, but one of the things about living out here is that the elevation is really high, so we get a lot of snow, and so snow shuts down a lot of the golf courses for a while. And even after the snow's melted, the courses are just way too waterlogged to play in the winter. So it gets a little tough to play in the winter. So I haven't gotten to play a whole lot recently.
I got my first round in this past weekend. Golfed with my boss Brian. The course was out of push carts, and I don't have a push cart. I accidentally left it back in Canada, so I had to carry my clubs, and it's probably the first time I've done exercise since last summer. I could barely move afterwards. My ankles still hurt, so that was tough. The round did not go well. We were thinking about a name for this show. High handicap might be the name of the show moving forward, and that would be, I don't know, you're probably a lot better at golf than I am, Cody, but I think it'd be fitting for several reasons. One of them being that I have a high handicap. My goal is to break 100. Usually I do. I did not this past weekend. bad back nine. One of the worst back nine. I shot 59 on the back. That's how bad it was. Tough.
Oh yeah. I mean, I am also a high handicap. I'm not fooling anyone with that. I was very excited because at the end of last year, before the winter, I broke 90 for the first time. So
Oh, nice.
was feeling great about that. But I mean, an 89 really isn't breaking down the door for anyone.
Yeah, so it'd be fitting for both of us then. That's my next
Exactly.
goal is to break 90. I've flirted with it a couple times. I was on pace to shoot like an 87 once, and I got so far inside my head because I'm the least clutch athlete of all time. I finished the round with a 787 the last 3 holes, and I finished like a 96
Oh
or
yeah.
97.
That,
That's my next goal is to break 90. So I guess if we go with the name high handicap, we have not officially pitched that yet, but if we do, fitting for both of us, I guess, in that regard.
absolutely.
In the literal sense of the word. All right, Masters Week, man. Let's get into it. There is already, for those of you who are watching, if you're watching on YouTube, get in some live comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. There is a ton of content over at FanSided and on BetSided. I've been writing Masters articles nonstop since last night, so I think I've already written like 8 of them. I've been just looking nonstop at Masters information since the Valero was still going on yesterday, and I already started diving into Master stuff. So a lot of content on both BetSided and FanSided. Check all that stuff out. But let's get into our picks, Cody. We're starting off as we always do with missing the cut. Yeah, go ahead. So you're gonna have honors here. Who's your pick to miss the cut? I will say Masters is a little bit tougher to do miss the cut because it's a smaller field already, and a lot of the field is taken up by like old guys and past winners and stuff. So most of like the recognizable names are, even if they play bad, they're probably going to make the cut. So a little bit trickier with these bets. I think I found a good one, but let me hear yours.
Yeah, so I try to take that into mind and try to mine some value given that because my first instinct was to just go back to the well with Bryson, but he was only at like plus 135 on some consensus odds that I saw. And so I didn't really like think that was the best of value, especially considering like with the way he hits the ball, he can come out and at least finish top 50. But my pick is Sam Burns. I know he's been playing well. The last time we saw him, he won the Valspar, but it's also it's his first time playing. And historically, people making their debut at Augusta don't particularly play that well. It's famous that only one person outside of the first 2 Masters I've ever held has won in their debut, and that was back in 1979 with Fuzzy Zoeller.
Shout out
Experience
Fuzzy
around this
Zoeller.
place, right? I had to give my man some props. But I mean, this is one of those courses where experience is so crucial. It's one of the reasons why people are so high on Tiger Woods playing, even coming back after all this time that he's been out, because knowing the nuances of the greens, of the fairways, where to miss and stuff like that is so crucial at Augusta. And one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at Burns's numbers is that he hasn't played since he won the Valspar. And whenever he's taken, that was about a month ago. Whenever he's taken like a large chunk of time like that, he's actually come back and not played that well. So the last big layoff he had was after the Hero in December. Obviously, when the PGA Tour took a break, he didn't play again until the Century Tournament of Champions. Well, he lost strokes ball striking there and finished, I think, in the top 20 still because his short game bailed him out. But then he missed 3 straight cuts. And when you look at the value, he's above plus 200 at a couple of places where I've seen him, to miss the cut. And I just think that's good value for someone making their debut and who historically doesn't play well after long layoffs.
All right, I like it. A little bit of a bold call, but like I said earlier, it's tough to make these kinds of bets at the Masters. But yeah, I think Will Zalatoris last year finishing second in his Masters debut has kind of made people forget that usually guys who make their Masters debut struggle a little bit. Zalatoris was obviously a big exception to that rule last year. My pick to miss the cut, I did not go with the guy who I went with last week, Jordan Spieth, but we're going to talk about him in a second. I went with Webb Simpson, actually. The odds I saw were around plus 155. In 4 starts in the 2022 calendar year for Webb Simpson, he has gone T61 at the Sonys. He missed the cut at the Players, T48 at the Valspar, and then he went 1 and 2 at match play and didn't advance to the bracket stage in match play. So He has not played very much this year whatsoever, and when he has played, he hasn't looked good. So, like I said earlier, and I keep saying it's tough to bet on miscut. He probably will make the cut just because there's the majority of the active players do. But his play in 2022 has concerned me, and he's probably still going to be a little bit rusty because since January 1st, he's competed 4 times, which is not that much. So I'm going to go Webb Simpson to miss the cut. His odds to win the whole thing are like 150-1. So that shows like how little faith odds makers have in his game right now. So I'll go Webb Simpson to miss the cut, and I said I got it around plus 155.
No, I
Any
like
thoughts
that a
on
lot.
Webb?
I like that. I like that a lot. He was actually someone who I was looking at to miss the cut as well, just because I'm pretty sure the reason he's played so little is because he's been hurt. I can't remember exactly what the injury is, but he's dealing with something. And I mean, he's not a young guy, so him not being in form, even if he has good history here, I like that pick a lot.
All right, let's move on to top 20s here. As always, we'll go top 20, top 10, top 5, and then winner. Cody, give me your top 20.
Yeah, so I teased this on Twitter. You're gonna hate this, but I have Jordan Spieth as my top 20 pick for the week. I understand that he has not been playing well overall, but kind of like you with your Charlie Hoffman pick last week, he's a horse for the course. He's played in the Masters 8 times. He almost, speaking of players who played well in their debut, he was T2 in his debut, almost won, but Bubba clipped him in that one, and then he won the next year. But he also has 5 top 5s and 6 top 10s or 6 top 11, excuse me, in his Masters career. He is the type of player where obviously if you watch him right now, his swing looks completely erratic and out of sync. But one of the things that Jordan Spieth has always had, even when he's not in form, is he has that creative mind and that feel for golf shots. And Augusta is a place that demands that. And on top of that, as I mentioned before, he has the experience here and the feels here to really, you know, come in with just good vibes, and I think kind of balance him out mentally, which is always a big thing with him because you can watch him and he just stresses over everything. And then the one thing that really cemented this for me was the fact that in the final round at the Valero Texas Open, he gained over 4 strokes approaching. Now, he wasn't that great with his irons prior to that, but I think that's enough sign for me for him going to a place where he's had so much historical success to think that a top 20 where he's only finished outside the top 20 in 2 of his 8 starts at Augusta. I think that's enough for me to bank on him doing it again.
So here's my issue with Spieth. When he was at his peak and when he was winning the Masters and winning all the tournaments, what was he known for? His putting.
His putting.
He now entering the Masters this week. He ranks 180th on the tour in strokes gained putting at minus 0.397. That's terrible. That stinks. And he's not really doing good enough anywhere else to kind of make up for that. Strokes gained around the green. He's not good chipping either. 87th. I will say, obviously, he has a lot of experience at Augusta. The course does kind of fit his style of play mostly. So that is why I didn't pick him to miss the cut. He'll probably do all right. And to be honest, I'm kind of fine with your top 20 bet, but I wouldn't go any higher than that. I'm seeing some people betting on him to win. Not only would I not bet on him to win, but he's just extremely overvalued. I'm going to bring up the odds here to win the whole thing. He's 21-1, so plus 2,100. I mean, that's only slightly below Colin Morikawa, the same price as Victor Hovland, shorter odds than Xander Schauffele. Like, this guy has not done anything this season. He only has one top 10 this year. Was that he had a second place finish at Pebble Beach, and that's his best finish. He hasn't done anything to warrant these kinds of odds this year. So I won't argue too much against top 20 because there is certainly something to say about his course history at Augusta. I can't back anyone who's saying that they're going to bet on him to win, though. That seems insane to me.
No, I agree with that completely. I mean, there's a reason I chose top 20 and not anything more,
Right.
Because even with his history, like his form is worrisome enough to where I'm not going to bank on anything. And I mean, top 20, I'm sure the odds on that are juicy. I actually haven't seen them, but I mean, I'm sure they're absolutely juicy and like not that great considering what his odds to win are. But I think his history here is enough to make me think that's a safe play. And like you said, like, you can cut off almost a third of the field with like older past champions and amateurs. So, I mean, that limits who he has to beat to get into the top 20.
I did tweet out today begging people to not bet on one of two golfers to win, one Jordan Spieth and the other being Bryson DeChambeau. I will say that before the 2019 Masters, I went on video. There's video evidence of it. And I told everyone, I said, please do not bet on Tiger Woods to win this weekend. It is not going to happen. And then Tiger Woods went on and won. So I've been dead wrong before. It is possible I will be dead wrong again. But I'm the two guys I'm fading this week are definitely going to be Spieth and DeChambeau. My top 20, I'm going to go with Max Homa. I got him at plus 225 to finish in the top 20 this week. I believe he did miss the cut last year, I believe. But I think people still look at Max Homa and they think that he's like an average golfer who's going to occasionally show up in contention on a Sunday every now and then. But he's not that guy anymore. I think people need to start respecting Max Homa a little bit. 24th in total strokes gained on tour this year. He doesn't really have any glaring weaknesses. He's solid in basically every single area. Last 5 starts, he's gone T14, T10, T17, T13. And then to be fair, he didn't advance in match play, but that's match play, so we can kind of forgive that a little bit. And also he's had a ton of success at Riviera, 5th place, 10th place. He won it last year. And a lot of people compare Riviera as they say that that's the course that kind of closely resembles Augusta National the most out of all the other courses on the tour schedule. So I think a lot of things are going well for him. I don't think he's going to be a top 10, top 5 guy. But I'm going top 20. I think pretty good value there, plus 225. Matt Sobin must have just tuned in right now because he just commented, Webb Simpson, top 20? He hasn't placed under top 20 since 2018. No, Matt, you missed it about five minutes ago. If that, I said I'm betting on Webb Simpson to miss the cut. Really quick, just to reiterate, he has only competed 4 times in 2022 and he stunk. T61, T48, didn't advance for match play, missed the cut at the Players. So yeah, he has done decent at the Masters recently, but his recent form and just his lack of playing concerns me quite a bit with Webb. So my top 20 is Max Homa. Let's move on to top 10. Cody, who do you got to finish in the top 10?
I have my guy, Victor Hovland, to finish in the top 10. He's only played at Augusta twice. Once was as an amateur where he finished as low am. It was T32, and then he was T21 last year because he didn't qualify for 2020. But his accomplishments this season are, I've mentioned them before on here, but he has 3 wins worldwide already this season, and then 3 additional top 5s, and he top 10 at the Players. Now, I mentioned last week, I'm kind of riding off the Players a little bit, but he still played well being on the right side of the draw. So, that's worth something. In this field over the last 50 rounds, he is tops in strokes gained approach, which I think is so crucial at Augusta. You have to be dialed in with your irons because of the contours of the greens and how tricky things can be when you're around the green, especially for him, because as we know, his short game is, a little bit worrisome. And then the other thing is you get a lot of long iron shots at Augusta, especially with him, lengthening a little bit on 11 and 15 this year. He is top 5 in proximity on approaches from 175 to 200 yards and top 5 in approaches from 200 to 225 this season. So I think his game is just really suited for him to have success. He's trending right in terms of his Masters career, improving, from his first to second attempts here. And then I also think that because his chipping has been so troublesome, that his putting gets underrated. He's not a bad putter. He's actually a pretty good putter, and he's improved in that area over the past, year or two. And so I think that if he can just not bleed around the green and completely take himself out of it, I think a top 10 is a really good bet for him.
Yeah, we've had this Victor Hovland conversation, I feel like, a couple times since we started doing the show. He's your guy, but it's just the chipping scares me away from ever betting on him. But you said it, he's so good with his irons and his approach play that like sometimes his chipping won't hurt him because he's not chipping because he's just on the green every single hole. So I don't hate that play. Last year I was like fading Morikawa because his short game was bad, but then he just kept on winning anyways because his irons were so good. And I feel like Victor Hovland's kind of in that same boat this year. I mean, yeah, 3rd on tour right now in strokes gained approach. Like you said, he's not a bad putter. He's 53rd in strokes gained putting this season, and it is trending upwards as well. So I don't hate that pick whatsoever. It's not one I'm going to play just because the chipping makes me so scared, especially a little bit on the tight lies around these Augusta greens. But even if he chips average, or like I said, just doesn't have to chip because he hits every green, he'll be in contention on the weekend. So for a top 10, I like that quite a bit. Did you get any odds on that by any chance?
I saw it around plus 200. So I
like
think
that.
that's good value on that for sure.
Okay, top 10 for myself. I'm going to go with my guy, my new best friend. Me and him are besties now. Will Zalatoris, not really. Will Zalatoris plus 250. I got him at to finish in the top 10. I joked about being buddies with him now because I interviewed him last week. If you haven't seen that, check that out on the BetSided YouTube right after the stream is over. Very interesting interview. Talked to him about kind of betting and how it's affected kind of the fans, betting on rounds with Tony Romo, what his thoughts are on the Masters. He had a pretty well thought out answer about that too, and his experience at the Masters last year. But I'm going to bet on him to finish in the top 10 this week. Strokes gained tee to green. This is the stat I keep going back to when it comes to the Masters. 8 of the last 10 winners ranked in the top 10 in that category heading into the week of the Masters. Will Zalatoris fell into that category last year. He was like 120-1, but he was inside the top 10 in strokes gained tee to green on tour before the Masters. It should have been a hint for people to bet on him. And for anyone who did, I mean, you almost won 120-1 ticket on Sunday. If you bet on top 5, top 10, even top 20, you had a pretty good payday at the Masters following this trend. Heading into this year, strokes gained tee to green, Will Zalatoris is first. Number one on the PGA Tour right now in strokes gained tee to green, so I have to bet on him to do it again. If he can finish second in his debut, I imagine he's going to be able to have a successful second go around at the Masters. Now, his putting isn't quite good enough for me to want to back him top 5 or to win. That is a big concern, especially on his short putts. He's been shaky over like those 3 to 5 footers. Some ugly strokes, to be honest. Sorry, Mr. Zalatoris, but there's been some ugly strokes on those short putts. But I feel just on his play tee to green, I feel quite comfortable for him to finish in the top 10 at plus 250. So Will Zalatoris, my guy, my bestie, to finish in the top 10. Any thoughts on Willie Z?
No, I love that. I mean, he's kind of in the same mold as Hovland. It's just the areas of their short game that are troublesome are kind of flip-flopped. Zalatoris isn't as much of a liability, chipping and around the green,
Right.
whereas he is with a putter, whereas Hovland is a liability around the green, has a solid putter. But, I mean, the ball striking is always there. And, I mean, he has no other memories of this place other than finishing second the first time he ever played it. So
Right.
I think that's a really good bet.
Yeah, should be confident heading into this week. And yeah, I just looked it up while you were talking. They're 170th in strokes gained putting. So that's but I mean, like I said, first in strokes gained tee to green, second in approach, 8 in strokes gained off the tee. If he can just dial in that putter a little bit, he's going to be the number 1 golfer in the world soon. So Will Zalatoris, top 10. We're getting down to the nitty gritty now. Top 5, Cody, go ahead.
So I kind of actually made fun of this last week, but then I started looking at the numbers and I couldn't look away from it. I have Cameron Smith to finish in the top 5. I was making fun of the fact that after he won the Players, everyone was like, "Oh, got to get my Masters bets in for Cam Smith." But for a top 5 finish, it's hard to argue with what he's done at Augusta so far in his career. He has 5 starts, and in those 5 starts, he has a T2, a T5, and then he was T10 last year. So the guy he likes playing Augusta. He's never missed the cut in any of his 5 starts either. We know his short game is immaculate. Like, he's the best putter on the PGA Tour. I'm not even talking about strokes gained. I'm just talking about watching him. There's never a putt he's in front of, especially inside of like 15 feet, where I'm like, oh, that's not finding the bottom of the cup. Like, I'm so confident when he has the putter in his hand, and he's really creative with his the rest of his short game in terms of like chipping and pitching and stuff like that if he gets in a bad spot. But the thing that I think has really elevated his game is that he's been gaining a strokes on approach really consistently this year. In 8 starts this season, he's only lost in one tournament that he's played in terms of strokes gained approach, and he's also gained over 2 strokes approach in 6 of the 8 that we have data on. So I think that's really impressive, especially given his course history. And then the other thing that I really like about Cam Smith is the mentality that he plays with. Like, I remember on the 18th, the Players, everyone was like, okay, just get it into the fairway. And he was trying to go for the green when he was in the trees on 18. And I like that aggressiveness at Augusta. I think it really plays well because you can't be like, if you're scared, of hitting into a raised creek or doing anything like that, then that stuff's going to get in your head. Like golf is a mental game when it comes down to it. And there's no fear in Cam Smith. Like he's going to play his game and he's going to play it well. And so I'm not necessarily backing him to win just because, like I said, with everyone backing him after the Players, like I think that depressed the value of him winning a little bit. But I do like the top 5 finish, especially since he's already done it twice.
Yeah, it's tough to argue against the Cam Smith pick here this week. Second in total strokes gain, 8th in approach. I agree. If you just look at the eye test and you don't look at strokes gain, like he's the best putter on tour, but even strokes gain, 3rd in strokes gain putting. If I were to say one concern I have about Cam Smith, just to play devil's advocate, would be that this is his first start since the Players. So it's been like 3-ish weeks, 3 coming up on 4 weeks since he's last played. So that concerns me a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, there's nothing else you can really argue against him there. So solid pick. Trivia question. I said he's 3rd in strokes gained putting. Do you know who leads the tour in strokes gained putting right now?
I do not.
Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay.
I thought about backing him at the Masters this week because I think he actually did pretty well last year at the Masters. I think he had a top 20. But his other numbers just aren't quite as convincing. His approach game is a little off as well. But I was kind of surprised to see that Tyrrell Hatton's the best putter in strokes gained right now.
So I actually have Hatton as one of my outright bets on my preview on FanSided. So I am actually backing Hatton a little bit this week.
I don't hate that whatsoever. I mean, you're betting on statistically the best putter on tour, and he's what were his odds? Like 50-1, 60-1,
55-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good bet.
I mean, especially. I mean, he's quietly been kind of in the Matt Fitzpatrick mold where he's finishing well, but he's just not winning. And it's kind of one of those things. And so I like that coming to Augusta because I think those trend lines really follow through.
Matt Fitzpatrick, by the way, my top 5 pick. How about that? How about that segue? Top 5. My pick to finish in the top 5 of the Masters, Matt Fitzpatrick at 9-1. I got him at. Full disclosure, I am betting on him to win outright as well at 50-1. I have 3 outright bets at the Masters. He is one of them, but I'm also going to bet on him to finish top 5 for a little insurance there. I mean, this is the guy who is literally first on the PGA Tour this season in total strokes gained. So you're able to bet on a guy to win this event at 50-1 or top 5 at 9-1, who's literally, at least statistically from a strokes gain perspective, is the best golfer on tour this year. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the wins of the Cameron Smith or the Scotty Schefflers, but if you trust in strokes gained, he's number 1. And through his last few starts, he's actually been playing pretty well as well. His last 6 starts in stroke play, he's finished 12th or better. The only one that he didn't finish 12th or better was he missed the cut at the Players, but we've talked about that. The Players Championship, he was on the wrong side of kind of the weather draw, so I'm going to kind of give him a pass on that. Like I said, I have a bet on him to win. But top 5, I'm certainly more comfortable with just because of the fact that he hasn't won on North American soil. But he's won a ton over in Europe. What, like 6, 7, 8, 9 wins or something like that in Europe?
It's near and
double digits. Like I said, man. Yeah, I think it's 9. But I'm not sure. But like I said, man, first on the PGA total and total strokes gained, and we can get him at 50-1 to win. That seems like an obvious bet to me. He's done decently at the Masters in the past too. He hasn't done fantastic. I think it was a couple years ago that he did really well, like a top 5 finish or something like that. But Matt Fitzpatrick, any thoughts on him?
No, I read your betting preview and I put a little sprinkle on him to win outright as well. I mean, I love his game. I love where it's at. And honestly, I think when you look at the odds board, I think he's mispriced. I really do. With the way he's playing, like I understand that his Masters history isn't, like illustrious. Like you said, he has like 1 top 10 finish, I think here, but I don't think he's ever been playing as well as he is right now. And he obviously has experience at the course as well. So like, I love the top 5 pick. I love, I had him as top 20 because I found top 20 at plus odds. So, so, I mean, I feel like that's just a bankroll builder. I hate that term, but I mean, it really is. Like, I feel like him finishing out of the top 20 would be far more surprising than him finishing inside. So,
Yeah, like we both said, I just looked up his Masters results in his career. Not great. He finished 7th in 2016, but since then he hasn't finished better than 21st. So maybe that's why we're probably getting the value on him. But he's playing the best golf he's ever played, so I'll take a shot at him. But now we're down to finally the moment everyone has been waiting for: our picks to win, our picks to put on the green jacket at the 2022 Masters. Cody, who's winning it all this year?
we're going Justin Thomas to win it all. I have been waiting for Justin Thomas to win a golf tournament this year, and I picked him a couple times, and it just has to be happening. The one thing that I have noticed is that there is definitely a lot of heavy. I'm not alone in this because has to be heavy action on Justin Thomas. When you wrote your preview last night, he was plus 1,600. When I wrote mine this morning, he was plus 1,400. And then when I checked again later to send you my picks for this show, he was plus 1,200. So there is action coming in on Justin Thomas, and I think for good reason though. He's improved every year, or he was improving every year on his finish at the Masters, peaking at 4th place in 2020, and then he finished T21 last year. But I mean, even T21 is still a solid finish.
Yeah.
In this field, he's 3rd this season in strokes gained approach per round, and funny enough, he's among 3 golfers that we've already mentioned. It's him, Victor Hovland, and Zalatoris are all in the top 10 in strokes gained approach per round, but they're the only 3 in the top 10 that also do that while gaining over a half stroke per round off the tee. So his tee to green game, which you already talked about, is just on point right now. He's just lacing the ball, and the big worry has been the putter. But he's found a little bit of he's popped a little bit more with the putter in positive ways than he was when he was, kept like he was absolutely flushing the ball, but then would finish, outside the top 10 because he couldn't buy a putt. He has gained over 3 strokes in 2 of his last 3 tournaments, the Valspar and the Genesis. So I think that really works well for him. And then the other thing is, I think that, and we talked about this a little bit on a previous show, and I try not to buy too much into narrative because we're not in these guys' heads, but he has to know that it's time for him to step up in these big events. He still only has the 1 major championship, but he still talked about a guy who has 4 or 5, and he should have 4 or 5 because he's that talented. And I think he knows that, and his game just suits Augusta too well for him to not break through at some point. And so I'm banking on him to break through this year.
Usually, if you've noticed a theme when you make a pick, I like to play devil's advocate and argue against it. Not doing it here because one of my 3 outright picks, I already said one's Matt Fitzpatrick, another one is Justin Thomas. So my outright pick's going to be a little different because I didn't want to just have the same one. But I agree with you. I'm on JT to win. He doesn't have a win so far this season, but he's finished 6th or better in 5 of his 10 starts. So he's like right there. And I read a pretty interesting study, and anyone who's like super interested in like the real in-depth analytics of golf, you have to go on datagolf.com. Their work on there is fantastic. And there's a blog that they wrote here called Peaking for Augusta. And it basically takes all the Masters champions back to 1997 and it like looks at their form heading into the Masters. Really interesting stuff. I mean, you can look into this for a while, but at the bottom it says when you combine overall talent and their Masters run-up trend, Justin Thomas looks to be in the best position to slip on the green jacket in 2022. So if you're an advanced analytics guy, you have the advanced analytics on your side heading into this year's Masters. So and I have also noticed that his odds of there must be sharp bettors or just a lot of public bettors backing him because his odds have dropped from 1,600 down to 1,200 from last night to right now. So yeah, I like that pick. I have no arguments against it whatsoever. Justin Thomas, beautiful.
Hey, I like it when we're in lockstep. That's like the first time we've ever been in lockstep like that.
Yeah, I love it. So since you went Justin Thomas, like I said, I have 3 outright picks. I've already given out the 2 of them. My third one, and this is, I don't have a lot of analytics to back this guy up, but this is a yearly tradition for me at the Masters. People who followed me know exactly what I'm about to say. Xander Schauffele. He has become. It's a yearly tradition for me to bet on Xander Schauffele, and it's a yearly tradition for him to break my heart. He had he finished second, I think, behind Tiger Woods in 2019. Last year, he made that late charge against Matsuyama, and then on the 16th hole, put it in the water. Great line, too. The ball was on a great line. I had to go like 2 yards further, and it would have been right there for a tap-in birdie. Plunks it in the water. He has broken my heart. I know golfer has lost me more money in my career of betting on the sport than Xander Schauffele, but I will not be able to live with myself if this is the year that I don't bet on him and then he goes on and wins. So at this point, I'm in too deep. I'll be betting on my guy Xander Schauffele. He has actually not really played that well this year. Ever since he kind of won gold at the Olympics last fall, he hasn't played fantastic. But he is 13th on the tour right now in strokes gained tee to green, which is that key stat just outside the top 10, like I was talking about earlier. I think 13th is where Matsuyama ranked last year before he won. So I think he might be a little bit of a sneaky play because he's a guy, like I said, yes, he hasn't won the Masters. He's broken my heart twice already, but I mean, he has a second place finish and a T3. Like he has proven he knows how to play this course. He's obviously a very talented golfer. And sometimes it seems like the guy who wins the Masters is the guy who's in that range, but no one is expecting to actually come out and win. So I'll take Xander Schauffele, 22-1. I'm ready for my heart to get broken once again.
No, I like Schauffele a lot, and I think what you said about him playing, this course as well as he has is a big key factor. Another thing I will say is I'm in the process of prepping my DFS preview for tomorrow, and I love Schauffele in DFS because I think the combination of I think he has win equity. I think he can win the tournament, so I like your bet, but I also think he has one of the highest floors of the favorites. Like you can
Yeah.
see a lot of the guys up at the top like combusting a little bit, relatively, but I don't think Schauffele is in that range. Like I think he has a very safe floor, which sometimes at Augusta is all you need to put yourself in contention is to not be in danger of combusting.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't played fantastic, but I'm just looking at his results right now. His last 4 stroke play starts, T3, T13, T12. He missed the cut of the players, but once again, he was on the wrong side of the weather at the players. So, yeah, I like Xander. Pick to win, 22-1. Right before we wrap it up, there is one name, Cody, that we have not brought up this stream. I know we're kind of over our time right now, but we have to talk about him. Tiger Woods.
Yeah, right.
Is he playing? And I mean, at this point, it kind of seems like he is, right?
Absolutely. I was actually listening to the First Cut CBS's golf podcast last night. Their recap of the Valero Texas Open, and Kyle Porter, who's a fantastic golf writer at CBS Sports, he said that Tiger not playing this week would be akin to giving your kids their Christmas presents on December 23rd to let them play with them, and then taking them away and saying, "No, these are actually your presents for next year. You don't get them in 2 days."
Right. Yeah. I like that. I like that analogy. I'm sure you saw the footage of his practice round today. I think he was only going to play 9 holes, I think, or maybe he was doing but the crowd around him was like as if it was on a Sunday. It was nuts.
Right. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, that would just be rude at this point if he decides not to play right at the end. But I mean, all signs look like he's obviously he's not 100%. He's going to struggle climbing up some hills, but he seems to be all right.
Absolutely. This might be a little frisky, but in my picks preview for FanSided, I put one of my best bets as him to make the cut. Because like we talked about, it's hard. Like if you're playing any kind of decently, it's going to be hard to miss the cut because like a third of the field is already eliminated because they're 60, 70 years old or an amateur playing this for the first time. And no one knows Augusta better than Tiger Woods. That's why he won in 2019 was because he played it smarter than everyone. And I think he, and all the reports from his practice round say that he's swinging the club well. So with his knowledge and if he is swinging it well, I think he can make the cut. I think he'll probably fade on Saturday and Sunday because of his injury and the rigors of walking at Augusta. But I like him to make the cut, and I found the bet at even odds. So I mean, I like that value a lot.
Yeah, I like that value quite a bit. If I can find plus money on him to make the cut, I probably will bet that too. Like for those exact same points you just said. Course experience is massive at Augusta, and I will not be fading Tiger Woods at Augusta again. I learned my lesson in 2019, so I will either be betting on him to make the cut, or I might not bet on or against him at all and just enjoy watching him as a fan, because I learned my lesson back in 2019. One of my all-time bad takes. Yeah, so I'm very interested if he plays. It seems like he will. We'll see what happens. If he hits a golf ball in competition, that's already an amazing achievement. If he makes the cut, that's unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
he almost lost his legs like a little over a year ago. Crazy,
right? That's a win in and of itself. Like, don't, please, for the love of God, do not bet outright that Tiger Woods is going to win the Masters. Please do not do that. But
no. Well, actually, I'm even though like there's almost no chance he will. I'm scared to even say it because I don't want to be wrong on that front.
It's okay. I'll take the bullet for us this time.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Tiger Woods is not winning the 2022 Masters.
Yeah, from a value standpoint, he's what are his odds to win right now?
Plus 5,000, or yeah, 50 to 1.
50 to 1. Actually, I think a win bet. I think he's actually still available at 80 to 1, or maybe not. Once I just refresh here, yeah, he's still at 80. Most books around 50 to 1. So if you do want to bet on Tiger Woods to win, if you're going to be that
bold,
to WinBet. Go to WinBet, because 80 to 1 is like way, but like most books are like 50 to 1. I saw some books at like 33 to 1. So if you want to bet on Tiger Woods, go to WinBet. 80 to 1 by far is the best price you're going to find right now. But there you go. That was our Masters show. A little bit longer than normal, but it's the Masters. I think it's deserving of being 12 minutes longer than our normal episode. Cody, thank you for joining me once again. A lot of fun. Best of luck with your bets. And to everyone watching, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And good luck with your Masters picks, man. Let's enjoy it. It's Masters week.
Let's see you next week. Good luck on yours
for whatever tournaments next week, because I haven't even looked past this week yet. I forget what tournaments next week, but we'll have picks. We'll see you then.